Glenn Parker, High Vibration Foundation. Thank you for joining me. I get a lot of questions. Why are you wearing the same shirt? Because I just did like 3 or 4 videos in a row. So, yes, that's how it works. It's the same day. It's okay. I want to talk about DNA activation today and its relationship to manifestation and to a lot of different things. Now, there's a lot of different ideas of DNA activation. Theta states to be able to activate your codons, to activating the light body and the diamond light body. Where to start? So let's start with the light body and the diamond light body. In your body of light, well before you started manifesting a physical body, you would come and manifest into a diamond light body, let's call it. And that was hundreds of thousands of years ago. And you came with a whole bunch of your friends and you tried to play out these roles in these games and play out great limitation. But when you were in your diamond light body, you were still connected so much to spirit that when you were doing things and it came down to like, oh, well, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to do this because I love you and we're immortal, we're eternal. This isn't, I don't want to do that. And it kind of broke the game because you weren't able to forget completely that you were an immortal being in a timeless reality in your diamond light body and your light body. So you shed your light body for a physical body, and the physical vehicle at that time was being genetically altered more and more and more so that it could receive the spiritual essence and have the ability to be spirit in physical body and have a unique, discrete physical experience. And once this was done, as time progressed over the millennia, 100,000, couple 100,000, almost 300,000, 300,000 years, depending on your account, has entropy. And now in this new age of awareness and enlightenment, we are regenerating it. And how are we doing that? Now, whatever story you like to adhere to on how the diamond light body was disassembled, it was a full 12-strand DNA at the time. And it was disassembled. As to whom and to why, there's many different stories, but that's really irrelevant for the topics and points of this conversation. The relevance is that it's taken apart to a 2-strand, and the other DNA, all the junk DNA, is still in there, junk DNA, which is your Akashic records and your knowledge of spirit and all of your other simultaneous lifetimes are all in there in each incarnation. This is the energy packet that you bring with you so that you can have cognition and you would have the ability to have full recollection of all this other information that you've acquired through all these other lifetimes to be packeted in. Now, when you're rebundling your DNA, there's these little gossamer type fibers that go through your DNA. And they start to rebundle the original 12-packet DNA when you were in your diamond light body. Now, as these start to repack it and recombinate, you start having more recognition. You start having fuller experiences that you remember more things, or maybe another parallel reality that you've lived, whether it's another lifetime or another variation of this lifetime. There's so many different ways to do that. Now, a lot of people say there's these magical frequencies, let's say like 528 and 432 hertz. Now, also, on a side note, these are magic Rife frequencies as well, Royal Raymond Rife. These are healing frequencies. One's like a cancer frequency, one's like an all-sweet type of frequency that's used as just a generic frequency for many types of ailments. These are also considered DNA activations as well because they are said to help rebundle the DNA, and the 528 is closer to like C, which one is it? 432. One of those is closer to C sharp, and Bashar has said that C sharp, and so have other entities. C sharp slightly above C sharp is the resonant tone of the earth, and it creates a resonant field between you and the earth will support you. It's collective. The earth is physically a machine, it's technology, it's nature, and at the same time, it's collective consciousness. It's all consciousness that have been on the earth and that are on the earth now as an aggregate. So that is buoying you up when you're using those frequencies. And there's tons of those things out there. Go search them out. There's tons of people that have those types of things. And There's tons of different ones. Find the one that resonates with you, whether you like C# or if you want. I run C# when I go to bed as a white noise instead of running a fan to like dampen out other noises. Not really high, but high enough where, you know, it feels good. And I have it on a cycle, so there's like a couple minutes that it's off and then it's back on, a couple minutes it's off. So it runs like 30 minutes and then it's off, and it runs 30 minutes, something to that effect. And you know, when it goes off, sometimes I get up and use the restroom and whatnot. I might be in bed, and when it's in that cycle and when it's coming back up, and it's all at once, it's like, ooh, you know, when it turns back on, back to baby talk, you know, and it's like, so it does have a very relaxing effect, at least for me. And I think it is because that frequency, even though it might not be coming from a rife generator, also has a very healing effect. And it might be DNA activation, it might be general healing, it could be any number of things. So it's really hard to say. Bashar says that there's just tons of support for it. So I have a feeling that it has multiple uses at the same time. Now, these delta states and these other activative states, you know, theta states and whatnot, are also very critical for activating DNA because it is a relaxation type of state. And it's important to be in a relaxed state because there's nothing wrong. You're an immortal being who manifested from a timeless reality into physical reality. If there's bills to be paid, if there's a plane trip to go take, if there's a lover waiting for you, what have you, it's all right now. There's no reason to be afraid. You're immortal. If you chose to die right now, and it's always a choice, you might not be conscious of it on this level. You chose to die at that time. So if you chose to die whenever you're going to die, why be afraid of it? And since die is kind of a word we've labeled things, croak I like from Abraham-Hicks, when you choose to croak, why would there be any problems with that? Because there is no death. There's only eternal life. It's just a change of a point of view back into spirit. So fear gets in the way of DNA activation because you can't rebundle your DNA into diamond light body because fear is not part of that energy equation. It's not part of your light body because there is no fear on the spirit level. And what it is when you reactivate fully the diamond light body and you remember spirit and you are a full holistic being in a physical form, there's no fear there because you remember you're immortal. Well, you consciously now are remembering you're immortal, and I'm telling you that you're immortal, and you've heard from many other sources that you're immortal, and it's starting to sink in, and you're like, oh, well, if I'm immortal, maybe there isn't a reason to be afraid, and maybe these types of things are useful for me. And those are personal choices. You may actually come across this video and go, I want to live in a 3D reality, and I want to go and, you know, be part of the monkey mind and run around and work for money and do all these types of things. Or you might go, ooh, wow, and kind of do what I did. It was like I came across one piece of information. I spent 30 days eating it into it, and the ego and the rational mind were going, no, no, no. And then every once in a while, like, well, yeah, that can all make sense. And then eventually, all at once, it's like unconditional love pops in, and you're like, whoa, what's going on? It's like, did I just have a heart attack? Am I going crazy? What's going on here? And then, you know, you start seeing other accounts, especially DMT accounts, and other types of things that have gone on, and you're like, no, not crazy. That's always good. And, you know, ooh, that must be a sign of DNA activation. So there's lots of ways to do DNA activation, and I think the prime way is intent, like in anything. If you just have intent every day, you know, love yourself. So I have an intention to reactivate my diamond light body. Whatever information needs to come to that end can come to me today. And just set your intention. I'm a mortal being in a timeless reality. There's nothing to be afraid of. There is no fear. And I want to reactivate and rebundle my DNA. And just that's that. And that's as simple as it needs to be. It doesn't need to be complicated. And if there are permission slips of some sort that you feel are a little more appropriate, seek them out. Thank you very much for watching. Again, this is Glenn Parker, High Vibration Foundation. If you want to have a conversation, I'm happy to talk to you about anything. If you want to talk about DNA activation, you want to talk about RIFE technology, you want to talk about anything, I'm always happy to talk. I just like helping other people come to further understanding of who and what they are. So have a fantastic day.